This week on C Plus News Time, NBC cancels and renews 2 of its summer comedy series. I'll let you decide which ones. And Jermaine Fowler has his own comedy commitment over at CBS, as well as a stand-up special. And finally, Judd Apatow will produce and direct Pete Holmes' comedy pilot for HBO. Man, everybody's getting their own pilots these days. I want to be able to get my own pilot and visit Rio de Janeiro. What? That's not what a pilot is? Oh, well then. Looks like you'll be getting that news, and plus I learned what a pilot is only on this C Plus News Time.
It's C Plus News Time with your host, Chad White.
Welcome back to C Plus News Time. I'm your host, Chad White, and this is the comedy news you know about for the week of September 14th, 2015. There's a lot in the way of news this week, so let's get right to it. NBC picks up the Carmichael Show for a second season while also opting to cancel the Mr. Robinson Show. The Carmichael Show and Mr. Robinson both proved to be decent players in the ratings category, but Carmichael Show actually proved better. It did well with the critics, where Mr. Robinson did not. Carmichael Show also got 4.7 million viewers. That's both live and same-day DVR viewings. And out of all the big 4 networks, it actually performed admirably in that time slot. This is also the second consecutive time that this has happened, with Undateable being the first time it happened last year when it was picked up. And now that show is actually going to be a live sitcom when it starts airing later on this year. President of NBC Entertainment, Jennifer Salk, said, "We're extremely proud of the Carmichael Show, and Gerard's voice and point of view is a breath of fresh air in a comedy series. This show made a big impact with viewers and critics because it's funny and relatable, but also because it's fearless about discussing issues that are significant in the world today." The Carmichael Show is admirable because it's talking about violence in the black community, it's talking about racism, it's talking about sexuality, feminism, and all the issues that are plaguing the news today. I say plaguing because there is all terrible issues. Of course, it all relates back to another sitcom from the 70s called All in the Family that also tackled the same issues. Now, if you haven't seen the Carmichael Show, it's kind of Gerard's platform for going out there and saying, hey, this is wrong, or we should be able to laugh at this, or any of those types of things. It's a very pointed show, and if you kind of don't want to separate your opinion and watch TV and enjoy that show at the same time, then it's really not for you at all. Next up, stand-up Jermaine Fowler is getting 2 TV projects, one on CBS and another on Showtime. Looks like the Friends of the People star is branching out after his other show was not picked up from pilot. Now, Jermaine Fowler is no newbie to the comedy scene, and now CBS has noticed that, wanting to hop in on the whole Carmichael Show, brigade. They're going to give Jermaine Fowler his own TV show. Written by and starring Fowler, this show is going to be a multi-camera sitcom that's going to be inspired by events in Jermaine Fowler's life. The synopsis goes like this. Fowler's father was only 17 and his mother was 16 when they had their first child. Despite being so young, the two stayed together, raising Fowler and his siblings. Fowler, who is 27, will play a character loosely based by his dad. It's going to be a 27-year-old bringing up children who are around 10. It's going to be kids raising kids. As part of the deal, Fowler will also star in his own stand-up special called Jermaine Fowler, Give 'Em Hell Kid, that will air Friday, December 11th. And finally, HBO has given the green light to Judd Apatow's newest production, a comedy pilot written by and starring comedian Pete Holmes. The semi-autobiographical project centers on a sweet, wholesome comedian, obviously Holmes, who, after his wife leaves him, has nowhere to stay but on the couches of New York's finest comics. The pilot is going to be produced by Holmes, Apatow, and Holmes' manager, Dave Rath, and that is going to be starting production in November. Now, if you listen to his podcast, You Made It Weird, then you definitely know Holmes' story regarding his wife and his early days as a comedian. And you should know that one of the biggest things that helped him out was his comedian friends, including John Mulaney, Kumail Nanjiani, Emily V. Gordon, and several others that helped him through his tough time. You should check out the episodes with Judd Apatow and John Mulaney, as well as the other comedians, because it's just a great podcast all in all, just to get a sense of where Pete Holmes is coming from in this new show, Crashing, for HBO. And that's all the news I have for you for this week on C Plus News Time. Why don't you go to one of our videos or subscribe? Do what you got to do. I don't care. Go to the website at cpluscomedy.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at cpluscomedy. Follow me on Twitter at ChadBlackWhite. Tumble with us on Tumblr. And that is the end of this sentence and video. Goodbye. Period.